And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of the Signposts Live. Good to have you all with us here today. So I'm going to be looking into a Zodiac tarot spread very shortly, as we're going to be looking into the downfall of the corrupt, because there's been some big news. There's been some big shifts as well too, and it really is representing a shift in the balance of power of things. So we're going to be looking into that today. I also have some news as well too pertaining to announcements. The first announcement is the RAYD8 browser app is going to be ready officially on June 19th. Okay, so June 19th will be the rollout date for the brand new browser app. And for those of you who are not aware, the RAYD8 browser app is something that you can access on your laptop, something that you can access on your PC. If your smart TV has a browser, you can just type in the domain name and you can access the app right then and there. So again, we have the mobile app specifically for phones and tablets, and we have the browser app for pretty much everything else. So again, whether it's a laptop, whether it's a MacBook, whether it's a PC, whether it's a smart TV, anything of that nature, anything that has an internet connection and a browser, you'll be able to use the RAYD8 browser app. So I'm excited to say that we finally have gotten to the tail end of everything. We're basically just doing a little bit of beta testing with the RAYD8 browser app, and it is going to be ready for launch officially on June 19th. So that is a Wednesday. So a lot of hard work paying off. And again, I want to thank everybody who contributed to the campaign. I had a GoFundMe campaign, and the people were basically paying halfers for the RAYD8 browser campaign. It actually came out close to about 12,000, so I took care of the 7,000, and the people took care of the rest. But we're basically just finishing up beta testing right now for that. We're just kind of testing, making sure we're getting a lot of the bugs out of the system. And once that's ready, then we'll be, again, officially launching it on June 19th. So the good news as well, too, is if you have the app on your phone already, the accounts are cross-compatible, right? So if you have an iPhone or if you have an Android, right, and of course you have a login to get the premium version, then basically when you log into the browser app, either through your Android or through your iPhone, you'll be able to get the premium version there as well too. For those of you who have not yet got the premium version, if you've donated, then you can either use the perk that you've got from your donation, either for yourself or for somebody else. Okay, so I have sent out links to people who have donated. If by chance you have not heard from me, please make sure you contact me when you can. Okay, you just email me at info@AetherX.co. That's AetherX.co. Just make sure you're emailing me there. And if you have not got a link to basically go to a sign-up form, it's just a sign-up form that kind of puts you on the list, because when we're ready, I'll be emailing everybody, and then I'll be giving you a promo code where you can put the premium version on your account. So again, as soon as you have the premium version, either on the mobile or the browser app, they're good for both. Okay, so like I said, if you have not done that yet, just feel free to drop me an email and I'll send you that link. Okay, not a problem. All right, so let's go ahead and get started firstly with announcements, and then we'll get into today's broadcast. Here we go.
Source Energy enhanced products to repair and rejuvenate the body. From the power of light to crystals to bed kits, card decks, and more. View our free samples, tutorials, and testimonials on our website, AetherX.co.
Private one-to-one sessions have returned with Brad Johnson and Adronis, with appointment times from 30, 45, and 60 minutes online. Offline sessions including the 3 questions by email and distance healing are now available. Book your session now through our website, wisdomtransmissions.com.
Get readings with Breanne and be astonished at the depth and accuracy she provides for you through her tarot readings. Breanne can create crystal grids for distance healing, plus offer Reiki and Kundalini attunements. She is also a certified Flying Star Feng Shui consultant. Visit Breanne's website and book your session today at readingswithbreanne.com.
Okay, so also one final announcement is that tomorrow I'll be coming on to do the free RAYD8 e-course. Okay, so we're going to be starting off with the free version first and foremost. Then on the next day, we're going to be working with the premium version. All right, so just an e-course for both of these versions. Tomorrow's event is going to be happening at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And then Saturday's event, I'm basically just changing the time to 8 a.m. Pacific time. Okay, so on Saturday's event, day number 2, it will be at 8 a.m. Pacific time on this channel. So you want to check that out. For those of you who have been using RAYD8 and you want to get some tips, you want to get some more information about how to use it very, very well, whether you're using the free version and when you're using the premium version, then you definitely want to tune into those 2 days. So there's going to be a lot of information that I'm going to reveal regarding that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started for today's broadcast. So hello, everybody. We're going to be getting into Q&A here in just a little while. I'm going to be doing the tarot spread, specifically the Zodiac, looking into the downfall of the corrupt. So really, what am I talking about when I'm saying the downfall of the corrupt? Well, we basically, many of us, I'm pretty sure, have seen the Trump trial, right, with what happened in New York, with what the idea of him being convicted. And of course, there's a lot of controversy behind all of that. But it goes back to what I've said, even probably going into a couple of months ago, where I was talking about that it's kind of like looking at a chessboard and you're just waiting for the opposition to make a really stupid move. There's the stupid move. So basically what they did with Trump, basically what they did and expose everything that represents the corruption of their justice system. They're done. They're finished. That's it. I would say that that is a checkmate move. Okay, that's checkmate. And it's not really the counter forces behind the scenes that are going to move in. It's the people in front of the scenes that are going to move in on this. And this is kind of the interesting strategy of it. Right? The counter forces, like I said, behind the scenes have been doing a lot of work. But when we see something like this that's so outlandish, and I think we're probably going to see a lot of other countries witness this as well too with their opposition leaders, that they're going to make such a stupid move. So, oh, okay, you moved your king, checkmate, right? This is checkmate. This is done, right? They are finished. They are completely finished, making the stupidest of stupid moves. But like I said, I just think it's something that represents a script. To me, this just still represents scriptedness. Still represents the three-ring circus. It still just seems kind of obvious to me, right, that they're so desperate to try and bring Trump into pushing him into the corner. But basically, all I'm seeing out of this is people who we thought would never vote for him would now be interested in voting for him, just because they saw the corruption, just because they saw the bogus dealings pertaining to this court in New York. So to me, that's checkmate, right? So really, we have seen that the opposition is now in checkmate. They really can't recover from this now. It's too late. It's now a point of no return for them. So they're done. They're finished. And I feel like this is going to be a domino effect that is going to hit many other countries as well, too. I think it's the time for the stupid moves. And this is really where I feel like, I wouldn't say that this is the major event of the summer. I think it's one of them. But I think there's another major event I think that will be coming. And I think it may relate much more to Earth changes. But this is definitely a political major event that has taken place. And as far as the dark forces are concerned, they're not going to be able to recover from this. This is it. They're done. They're finished. They have basically made a martyr. They have made a saint out of Trump. And people are now holding him to such a big light, even more than before. And they're not going to be able to get out of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to look into this a little bit more, saying that this is checkmate. This is the downfall of the corrupt. And we're going to be looking into what is the future of the corrupt now that they have made this move, now that they have basically martyred Trump in this way. What is going to be happening with them in the next few months? What can we expect to see happen to the corrupt, to the dark forces, as this is taking place, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So I'll move my camera down here in just a second. I'm interested to see exactly what comes up. Okay, let me go ahead and move the camera down so you guys can get a good view here of my nice shiny desk. All right, hopefully that will do okay. Maybe just bring it down a bit more. Okay, I think that'll be all right. All right, so let's take a look here. Okay, so we're going to start off with The first house representing Aries. Okay, I'll put it right about there. Okay, second house representing Taurus. There. Third house representing Gemini. Fourth house representing Cancer. Fifth house representing Leo. Sixth house representing Virgo. Okay, just making sure you guys can see it okay. Seventh house representing Libra. Eighth house representing Scorpio. Okay. Ninth house representing Sagittarius. Out there. 10th house representing Capricorn. 11th house representing Aquarius. 12th house representing Pisces. Oh yeah, that's kind of a game over right there. Okay, and how we are in the middle here. Okay, so how we're reacting to this whole situation in the middle. Wow, we got quite a reading here. Okay, so the question is, what is the future of the corrupt? What is the future of the dark forces now that they have basically committed political suicide and martyred Trump in this way and have basically moved into checkmate? What is ahead for them? What are things going to look like between them and us? Right. So the first house representing that of Aries. So we're definitely seeing, this is exactly how I put it. We're seeing a shift in the balance of power, right? Everything is about to change. Everything is about to move in a new direction. The seventh house representing that of Libra, to which Aries is aspecting, which again represents the public eye, which can represent controversy, it can represent all that. It feels like there's a big victory ahead. This is almost, I would say that I can't put 100% of a tag on this, but I'd say at least 90%, right? 90% chance that Trump will be in the new president once again as we move into 2025. So he's going to have his position back. And I'd say that's almost, again, then there's the important key word there, almost a certainty. Okay. So to me here, it looks like they were so desperate. They thought that this was going to work together in someone else's favor. They were doing their best to try and make Trump look like an absolute criminal, to try and make him look like the most horrible person on the face of the earth. And all this did was made him stronger. All this did was make the support for him even greater. So this has been probably the biggest backfire that they have had. But in my personal opinion, this also feels like I said, it's part of the script. It's part of the three-ring circus, right? So yes, there's definitely been a shift. Yes, there's going to be this is moving into a very positive direction. This is pretty much a victory for the counterforces altogether. That the more that they put hate on Trump, the more that they're trying to slander this man and just throw everything they can at him, the more people get stronger, the more people wake up, the more people are saying, you know what, I don't really like Trump that much. I don't really like this guy very much, but I saw exactly what happened to him. And this is not what I want to see happen to anybody else. I don't want to see this happen to me. I don't want to see this happen to anybody else. I'm going to vote for him. Right? And this is what I've been seeing quite a bit on social media, is people saying that. Say, guys, I've never been a Trump fan. I have never been a Trump supporter, but I saw exactly what happened to him with his trial. And now I'm completely voting for him. And now I'm going to completely back him up. Right. And so many people are doing that. So this is basically telling me that counter forces have prevailed. Once again, I think we've already been prevailing for quite a while, but this is us prevailing to an even higher level. Right. So this is kind of what this is telling me, is that there's a shift, there's a transformation, there's a balance of power shift that's taking place, and it's moving us into the right direction. We still have some work to do, but it's moving us very much into the right direction. And this is why I feel a lot of this stuff, a lot of this, devastating information, devastating events that have been taking place has been allowed to happen. It's been allowed to happen because it's going to lead to something like this. It's going to reach to the boiling point. This is, again, confirming what I and quite a few others like me have been talking about that this is going to reach a boiling point. It's going to wake people up so immensely that it will be almost next to impossible for Trump to lose an election. They're also planning on having a lot of volunteers to basically watch the ballot boxes as well too. It feels like they're really prepared for this next election, right? And this is, again, it's an in front of the scenes matter, but it's a colossal shift that is taking place. So going into the second house, which is Taurus, okay, it still feels like the cabal is still trying to cook up plans. They're still going to try and cook up plans. Maybe they're trying to do some sort of financial situation, of course, because Taurus does deal with money, deals with fortune, deals with money as well too. Almost feels like maybe they're trying to get out of debt, but they can't, right? I mean, they've already put up so much debt across the entire planet. It almost feels like here maybe they're trying to manufacture more money. It feels like they're trying to artificialize their finances. I feel like they're just on the verge of starving. They're on the verge of collapse. They're on the verge of just losing absolutely everything, right? Nothing is going to be left for them to use anymore. They're just going to, they're all of their resources are going to be dried up. That's kind of what I'm feeling here, is that they are pushing and pushing and pushing, trying to make Trump public enemy number one, but it's all just pointing back at them, right? It's kind of like they're on the megaphone and they're just spewing all this stuff about how horrible Trump is, and all the people that hear them are just looking back at the person on the megaphone with utter disdain, saying, you really are a piece of work. You realize that you're the one that's actually causing a lot of this mess, that you're the ones that are basically manufacturing these events and causing people to starve and go hungry and to fight and to be at each other's throats. No, we're looking at you. We're looking at the person on the megaphone, right? And so they're running out of ideas. Their playlists are, their playbooks, I should say, are running dry. And we have the star here, which represents Scorpio, okay? So the star here basically tells me, I think that this is going to be a time where the corrupt are going to be so exposed. It's like the light is shining upon them, and it's not going to be something where they're going to hide anymore. You're really going to see the sheep clothing taken off the wolf, right? The wolf on sheep's clothing is going to be revealed to the world. So this feels like a supportive event that needed to happen, even though it felt devastating. It's something that needs to stay the course. There are some people that are saying, oh, it feels like this decision is going to get reversed. I said, it's not going to work if it gets reversed. No, don't reverse it. Let this stay on him, because this is what's going to bring so much support to him overwhelmingly, that is going to guarantee his spot into presidency. And I think then once that happens, then you can certainly dissolve it. But don't do that. Don't try to say, oh, we need to get this reversed. No, don't get it reversed. Let it stay, because this is going to help Trump to the level where I could say his presidency is pretty much guaranteed. Right? People are just rooting for him altogether. And we need to see this, because like then I've seen astrologists and so forth, they say, oh, it just feels like it's going to get overturned and stuff like that. So not right away. No, definitely not right away. What this is doing is it's helping to elevate him to the next level. Like I said, they have made him into a martyr. You want to keep that image. You want to keep that impression on him. You don't want to feel like it's just going to fade away so quickly, because then you're losing something that is very, very important, that's lifting him up to bring him back into his presidency. So, like I said, I feel it's just representing the idea of a lot of botched plans, just a lot of light that is being poured, light that is shining upon the corrupt, and they are losing this battle. They are significantly losing. The light is prevailing here, right? So their scandals are going to be shined upon, right? Everything pertaining to their secrecy, everything pertaining to their agendas, everything that's in their playbooks are just being completely and totally exposed by the light. It's a beautiful thing to see. Okay, so we have the third house here representing Gemini. This would tell me that the people are going to be taking their power back. Okay, so we're dealing with communication here. We're dealing with the people having their voice back, right? Their power is coming back. There's something so grand on the horizon that this is really leading into a whole new era, right? The whole idea of what we've had with politics that screw you out of money, politics that wage war, politics that manipulate, politics that lie, all of that is going to die out. All of that is, I think, as we start moving into 2025, There's going to be that year or two of transition, but we're going to see everything pertaining to old politics die, right? All of it is going to fall apart. You just have to imagine that if there's a government that has no form of corruption, where the swamp is now completely and totally finally drained, all of the criminal cartels that have been responsible for making that muddy, despicable swamp is now taken out of the picture altogether. Well, that's what it's going to look like. We can't imagine that right now because we haven't seen that particular type of cleanup in our lifetime. But this is exactly what's ahead. It's what's shifting. Trump is really going to be working together with a lot of the counterforces. And when he comes back in the second term, I would say he's really rolling up his sleeves. It's almost like he's going to, the best way I could say is that he wants revenge, right? And it's kind of almost like a justice-based revenge that he's doing. And not a single one of them are going to be left standing. I also feel that if we get into 2025, when he's there, he's going to expose everything. He's going to expose 9/11. He's going to expose extraterrestrial disclosure. He's going to expose COVID. He's going to expose everything. Everything's going to be exposed. He's going to create committees. He's going to rain down fire on the corrupt in ways that they are absolutely dreading. They are terrified of him. They are absolutely terrified of him. And this is why they have done everything they possibly could. They've tried to impeach him. They tried to impeach him twice, 2 or 3 times. They're trying to give him all these court cases and all that stuff like that, and they can't get rid of him. Sorry, guys, you're not going to be able to get rid of him, right? He represents something. He represents a figurehead indicating a new era that is coming together. So, like I said, when we have Gemini here, this is the people taking their voice back, and they are going to be the supporters. They're helping out together with what they feel represents their new era. Okay, this is being aspected by Aquarius. Okay, so Aquarius representing the High Priestess, which often represents the father or good fortune. That way, it can also represent the idea of investigations as well too. And that's basically what I feel like this represents. It represents investigation, getting to the truth. And it feels like we're getting to the truth right now. We are going to see all of the wolves in sheep's clothing laid bare. And we're going to see exactly who they are. And the people will not only just demand justice, they will come out in droves to ensure that justice is served, right? This is monumental, guys. This is the checkmate that I've been talking about. When I saw that, I said, okay, this is what this is going to do now with him, what this is now going to do with the American people. They have just put themselves in checkmate. They made a really, really, really stupid move. Really stupid. Right? But like I said, it's a 3-ring circus. I feel it's a script. I feel it's a movie. This is just part of the movie where the bad guy makes the really, 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 really stupid mistake. I mean, utterly, idiotically, revoltingly stupid. So here we go. And I don't think it'll be long before Canada falls shortly ahead as well too, with their government making a stupid mistake, probably with the UK as well too, making another stupid mistake. I think this is the time when we get into the summer, you will look at the summer of stupid mistakes. But like I said, I think it's all scripted. It's all part of the 3-ring circus. It's all part of the show. It's all part of the movie. This is a soap opera here. That now's the time. Here's the era of stupid mistakes. And you're going to see more and more politicians. You're going to find more and more world leaders making more and more and more stupid mistakes. It's really going to be interesting to see. Okay, then we're going to move into the 4th house, which represents Cancer. Okay, we're moving forward in the right way, right? This can often relate to household, this can relate to property, but this can represent the land as well too. The land of the United States is now finally going to move in the right way. It's moving in the right direction. It's basically, I would say, like I said, almost guaranteed. I'm not going to put the 100% tag on it, but like I said, I'd say at least 90% that it is moving forward in the right direction and that you can say goodbye to everything that's corrupt on this planet. Between now and the next several months, right? They are going to be, they're going to be stomped out. It's like looking at this bonfire and it's just have all these people here with big buckets of water and they're all just pouring the water on it at the same time and just completely and totally snuffing it out. And that's what I feel is happening. The fire is being put out of the corrupt. And this is their end. They're finished. Okay, going into the 10th house, which represents the sun, or Cancer, or sorry, Capricorn. Capricorn, the sun, so someone is being risen to glory. Someone is going to take their power back, right? So we could say that Trump basically has that. It's kind of like the sun is shining on his presidential chair, right? And says he's unstoppable now. They have made him invincible. And that's basically what's happened. Is they're going to try and push this. They're still going to try and slander him. So he's a felon. He's a convicted felon. And let's try and take away his secret service and blah, blah, blah. And they're just going to do all these things with him. But like I said, the more that they slander him, the stronger the people get, right? And that's really what I'm seeing here with Gemini, right? The more that they try to slander him, the stronger the people get. The best thing they do, leave him alone. But I'd say, like I said, it's too late. They basically have hit the point of no return. What they have done is they have made the very thing that they fear the most. And this is exactly what I've talked about for years, is that the corrupt are going to end up making the very thing that is going to be their downfall. They're going to basically empower the people. They empower the people with their lies. They empower the people with their slander. They empower the people with their deceptions, with their manipulations. All it's done is made people stronger. All it's done is having people holding hands even stronger by them doing it. You see, this is the whole idea. Is just that these particular people, if you can call them people, that are so hell-bent in trying to transform the world in their image will eventually be the ones that empower the light, right? The ones who walk in the greatest darkness through their actions are actually going to be the ones that will counteract the equal to making the light stronger, right? As they try to raise up in the darkness, the counterforce of the light matches them. And not only does it match them, now it will start to basically take their energy and dissolve them and bring it back into balance. That's what this is all about. So they've shot themselves in the foot. Not only have they shot themselves in the foot, they basically have taken a machine gun and they've just obliterated both of their legs. This is basically what's happened right now. So when we're seeing here, the 10th house of the idea, like I said, it's politics, it's government, it's status, it's popularity. This is to me, this is saying Trump. This is Trump right now. And like I said, the sun is shining on his presidential chair. And like I said, I would say it's almost a guarantee that he will be back in power again. Okay, so going into the 5th house, which represents Leo. Okay, here's the King of Wands. So this also can represent a Trump card in a way, right? The King of Wands is coming back, right? There's a fire energy to him. Like I said, he is going to scorch. He is going to burn down every particular form of corrupt establishment on the planet. He's going to be working together with other leaders, whether they're secret or whether they're publicly known. But he's working together with many of them, and it's all part of an alliance. America is going to be going into a new alliance initiative, if it hasn't already, behind the scenes. But in front of the scenes, it's going to be made a lot more clear. He is going to burn down the entire infrastructure of the corrupt. The corrupt will not be left standing. All the cartels, all the criminal cartels, all of these task forces, all these proxy armies, everything is going to be completely and totally burned to the ground. And that's kind of what I'm getting the feeling here in that sense. When we look at the aspecting from the 5th house of Leo over to the 11th house of Aquarius, which often represents gains, this tells me that the corrupt are going to be apprehended. They're going to be exposed. They're going to be apprehended. They're going to go to jail. They're going to have tribunals. Wouldn't surprise me if many of them are executed as well, too. I don't know if that's going to be publicly known. I don't know if it's still going to stay behind the scenes, because a lot of that was happening during Trump's period, is that there were a lot of task force around the planet, and they were already rounding up a lot of people, a lot of the corrupt. But that is going to be taken to the next level. It's kind of like it's met its power to the 100th effect. And this is what I'm seeing here, is it looks like the whole idea of the corrupt is going to be in shackles. They're going to be in binds. They will not be able to do anything anymore. They will completely lose their power. People are going to be exposed like crazy. Does not matter how much they deny it. They're going to be tried, right? Their lies won't work, because look at what you see when If any of us are brave enough to go ahead and look at what's happening inside the Senate or anything of that nature, you know how they just don't answer questions because the questioner will come to them and say, okay, just give me a number, sir. How much is a number in regards to your department? Well, you know what we can say right now. They just give you some basically gaslit speech. They give a gaslighting speech. And like I said, that's all part of their training. They basically will say that I would rather die than give information away to my higher ups because my higher ups will kill me in the most unbelievable ways if I give this up. And so what they're doing is they've been completely and totally programmed and conditioned to just regurgitate nonsense. They give you a pitch. So, okay, well, how much money was missing from your department? Well, what I can say is that we are looking into a committee and we are looking into this and blah, blah, blah. They don't give numbers. They don't give any of that. That's their gaslight speech. Okay, they're not going to be able to do that anymore. So when basically Trump comes in, if they refuse to answer the question, you could say that they're pretty much in contempt and they will be tried. So their gaslighting speeches aren't going to work anymore. Like I said, everything pertaining to the infrastructure of the corrupt is going to be burned to the ground. I can pretty much, like I said, there's the quoted words there, I can pretty much guarantee that when he starts getting back into his presidency. Like I said, I've always really felt that he still is the president behind the scenes because I've said since the very beginning that Biden's inauguration was not legitimate, and it really is Trump that still is president altogether, really. That's why people keep calling him Mr. President. They're not calling him former president. They're still calling him Mr. President quite a lot. A lot of the soldiers, a lot of the firemen, a lot of the policemen, a lot of them are still calling him Mr. President, right? He has not given up that title. So that's kind of a bit of a hint right there. But yes, this is what I feel for them, is that they're done. This is the whole idea, is that ye reap what ye sow. And here it is right there. Okay, let's move on into the 6th house, which is Virgo. Okay, and so Virgo is aligned together with Pisces, but we'll get to Pisces here in just a moment. So with Virgo, Virgo does represent labor, does represent services. It does represent even action as well too. And I feel like the action of justice is going to be coming down. And this, again, kind of feels like a Trump-like image. As like I said, he is going to wage war on these people in front and behind of the scenes, where you're just going to see it. You're just going to see people being pulled out of action. Hey, whatever happened to this guy? It's kind of like what's happened already to the royal families of the world. I've done webcasts on that about not just the royal family of England, but also looking into many of these other royal families, and it's not them, right? A lot of them are basically already being tried. They've already been taken out of the picture. It wouldn't surprise me if many of them have actually been executed, right? Many of the royal families upon the planet are the capitalists when it comes to embezzlement of money laundering, child trafficking, trafficking in general, drug trade, everything. Pretty much almost every major offense that you can think of, the royal families of the world have facilitated, right? And all of them are basically rounded up right now. So it would not surprise me if people are coming to me and saying, Brad, I've looked at this with the England royal family, and the British royal family, I guess you could say, and they don't look at all like what they look like. No, of course not, because you're seeing doppelgangers, whether it's the Dutch royal family or any other royal family altogether. Not them. Definitely stand-ins. They are finished. They're done too. So this is telling me that the hammer is coming down on everything that represents the corruption in this world. This is why I say that the 2020s has represented the cleanup decade, and the events that are constantly coming in is constantly proving me right. Right? This has been such a huge cleanup. There's been such a big cleanup taking place behind the scenes, and now we're going to start seeing it leaking in front of the scenes as well too, which means I can say that probably between the next couple of years, the movie that we understand will be coming to an end. Right? So like I said, everything's just going to be scorched. Now it's kind of like you could say the hero's return, where he comes in and he delivers a fatal blow to the corrupt, to the antagonists, and they're about to fall. So like I said, the 6th house here, Virgo, is aspecting the 12th house, which represents Pisces. And what does Pisces represent primarily? It represents loss. Okay. There is the loss of the corrupt, the loss of the devil. The devil loses everything, loses his minions, loses his power, loses his resources. Everything gets basically consumed back into the devil's lair, so to speak. The people that have sold their soul, they're basically getting consumed by their own ego, right? So this tells me that it is a complete and total warfare against the devil, and it feels like the ones that are seated in the throne with the sun shining upon them are going to prevail. So this again almost feels like it's representing prophecy that has been coming about for thousands of years, that we will experience a very heavy time, that this will be a time of great suffering, this will be a time of great peril, this will be a time of great corruption that will be revealed. But ultimately, through all of this being revealed, it will strengthen the people in such a way that prosperity will come back upon the land. That's exactly what I'm seeing here in this reading. We have hit checkmate, my friends. That's huge. We've waited decades for this moment. Here it is, right? It's like we're watching people just sound the trumpets right now, saying, oh my God, we've hit checkmate. We have now come to the point where the people are standing up because they're standing up for a common cause, right? And a lot of people love Trump, but it's not even really about him. It's basically what people have been able to see right in front of their face. Sorry, let me just go back to the last card here. This is the 13th card. How will we respond to this whole situation? Okay. And that's the Empress. Okay. Rebirth, renewal, transformation, the sun shining upon the golden seat. Okay. The birth of a new consciousness, the fertility that's bringing about the birth of a new type of people. That's what this is going to bring to us. This is reward. This is transformation. This is pure consciousness coming in, and it's representing a transcendent, beneficial turnaround. That's what this represents to us, right? So like I said, this has just been something that we have been praying for, we have been asking for, we have been demanding for, and we're now starting to see it come to pass. This has been something that our parents, our ancestors have been wanting to see for such a long time, for centuries. And here it is. You are living in it right now, guys. You are living in the era of checkmate. Okay? The whole nature of the corrupt, as far as the United States is concerned, they're in checkmate. Right? So this is not a new age concept, my friends. What I'm basically telling you is just what's coming together in the past. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe a single word that I say. Frankly, I don't even know why you're on this channel if you don't. But you don't have to be. Right? You don't have to believe anything I say. But I'm just giving you the perspective of what I'm getting from the cards, right? And like I said, I've talked about for quite a bit of time the nature of checkmate happening, and we've seen it, right? I've talked about quite a bit time right now of seeing the corrupt going to elevate themselves. They're going to increase their pressure to the point where it's going to be pretty much unbearable to every man, woman, and child. And it's happened, right? You want to call it new age nonsense. I really don't give a shit. But nonetheless, this is what's happening. This is what's taking place. This is something that I've been talking about, even just going back to like 2019, 2020, just before COVID was starting. And we're seeing that happen right now. So there you go, guys. I'm not saying you have to say what Brad says is the gospel. No, what I say is a perspective, right? And you don't have to believe me. You can turn me off right now. You don't have to be on my channel. I don't even know why you're here. If you think it's if it's nonsense new age crap, right? I'm not about the new age, but I am going to give you guys an outlook perspective on where I think things are going, right? Because this is coming from Unpopular Prophet. Sorry, but this new age nonsense is false. The country is corrupt as a whole. Trump will not be president, and God is about to destroy Western civilization. What you're basically saying, my friend, sounds like new age bullshit, right? No offense, Unpopular Prophet, but you sound like the new age bullshitter. That's just how I feel it, right? Because that's not where I see us going at all. The whole idea is that we see this all coming together and people are going to prosper. People are going to prevail. This is not leading to the end. This is not leading into the idea of dystopian civilization running the earth for the next 10,000 years. And if you think that's the way, then to me it feels like you're sinking in the Titanic. Right? Because I don't see that happening at all. And I've had people say things like that. Oh, Brad, it's a hopeless case, and the New World Order is going to prevail, and all civilization that we know is going to end, and we're all going to be plugged into a bunch of servers, and we're not going to have any physical bodies left, and we're just going to be a bunch of digital ones and zeros on a screen, and everything's going to happen. Well, that just tells me that you've already given up. You've already given up, and your heart has basically died inside of you, right? You've thrown in the towel. You've quit. It's basically what that's telling me, right? So no offense, man, but I'd say from what you're saying, that's the New Age bullshit. So that's my perspective on it. Anyways, that's what I wanted to share with you guys, because like I said, everything I share, because I always say it quite almost like verbatim, constantly, is that everything I share is my perspective, is my point of view. And I'll be very, very blunt with anybody that wants to criticize. It's fine. You guys can criticize, because I'm glad that you show me your philosophy. Because with all respect, I think your philosophy is full of shit. So, but that's just what I'm getting, right? So I have not seen that. And basically a lot of the things that I have shared going back years, I'm seeing coming ahead right now. I do not see a bleak time for humanity. I do not see a bleak time for us. I do not see us retreating in the shadows. I do not feel like the food is being taken from your mouth. I do not feel that the majority of people on this planet are going to starve to death, are going to be broke, and are going to completely fall off into the mists, right? I'm not seeing that. And if you're saying the opposite, then like I said, you live in a very different world than I do. And that's probably why we may agree to disagree, right? Okay, so let's go ahead now and get to questions. All right, so I'm going to take questions here from the chat. I think we do have a couple of donation-based questions, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the reading. Let's go ahead and move on to your questions now. Let's go ahead and start up at the top. I'm just going to look at some donation-based questions, then we'll go into other questions that are on the list here. Okay, this one is from Life is Magic. Life is Magic, thanks for your donation. You wrote, will the general election happen in Singapore in 2024? And will the current party win the majority of seats, or will there be big surprises? Okay, so we have looked into Singapore a little bit. I think you were talking about a certain politician that's running. And if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he was someone who was playing on the other side, the dark side in that sense, and that we're seeing him basically maybe turning sides or changing sides or something like that. But we'll look at that. Will the general election happen in Singapore in 2024? So why don't we just stick with that question? Okay. Try to keep things, guys, to just one question each, right? I just basically want to get one question down. So let's just ask the question, will the general election happen in Singapore in 2024? Okay. I can't really guarantee to you guys about which party wins, because I can't even say that about Trump, right? I'd say he has a very, very high possibility that's almost guaranteed, but anything can still happen, right? So I can't give you that answer, right? But we'll just ask the question, if the general election happens in Singapore 2025, or will the general election happen? Okay. So let's take a look here. You kind of have a point that there may be some interruptions with the election, that they may try to stop the idea of the election happening, because if it's not going in their favor, that's what they'll try to do. And that may be what they'll try to do in the United States as well, too, is they'll do their best to try and cancel the election, or try to postpone it, or try to nullify it completely. But it's not going to work, right? And I would say that's the exact same thing from what I'm getting here for Singapore, okay? So here's the idea of the current, right? So there feels like leadership is quite strong in Singapore with the upcoming leader that's going to be there, right? But it feels like there's going to be some distraction events. It feels like they are going to try and pull some ploys to try and counteract the election from happening. Because I feel like there's a new leader that's coming in, and it feels like he's being risen to glory in that way, right? This may represent the idea of a new leader coming together in Singapore. If we're seeing the Page of Wands, we're seeing somebody with new ideas, new innovations, an action taker as well too, right? The wands represent action. It represents fire. So it feels like they're going to be blazing a trail with things. Feels like the corrupt is going to try and stand in the way of it. So you're right about that, Life is Magic. I don't think it's going to cancel the elections, though. but I think they're going to try and put a bind on things, right? They're basically maybe going to try and enforce tactics that they may try to prevent the election from happening, but I don't see that happening. I do see it moving forward. I do see it happening, but if they really can't control the situation, they're going to try any way they can to sabotage it, right? So I do feel sabotage may be in the way. I do feel that there will be a lot of binding of hands. There may be some enforcements coming on as well too, but I don't think it's going to stop the election altogether. And this may happen, specifically with countries now during election time. If they cannot try to control the outcome with a new leader that they want, they will try to sabotage it. They will try to slanderize it. They will try to manipulate it. They'll try to set fire to it. The people have to see this. Like I said, all of this is happening to try and rile up the people, so the people get fully behind it. If they don't get fully behind it, then something like this could succeed. So will it succeed? I can't say. That's up to the people of Singapore. If the people of Singapore stand up and they demand that an election be done, it will happen. If too many sleepers are there, it could be canceled. So that's what I'm thinking here. But the good news I'm feeling is that a lot of people will stand up to make sure that happens. Okay? So I can't tell you about who's going to win the party, and that's not what I'm here to do, guys. I'm not being a fortune teller for you, right? I'm just giving you the idea of a look at things from a certain perspective to see what may come, right? But I'm not going to say, oh yeah, 100% they'll win it. No, because I can't even say that with Trump, right? It's almost guaranteed, but it's not 100%. All right, so take that for what it's worth, but that's what I'm getting. Thank you. Life is magic. All right, let's go down. We have a couple more donations. Okay, this one here is from Ben. Ben says, greeting, Brad. Is the German political party AfD completely controlled by the counterforces? Okay, so let's take a look at this German political party, AfD. See if they are on the side. I'll say if they're on the side of the counterforces. All right, see what we get. I would say most definitely yes. They are definitely on the side of the counterforces. Now, I don't follow German politics or anything that way, but it feels like this is something that has been kind of overhauled. As I've talked about, 2024 represents a year overhaul. There's a lot of overhauling taking place. So to me, this feels like maybe a once not so favorable political party that is now starting to change sides. It's kind of like if we look at, the Americans. They have the Republic Party, which is very much counterforce in alliance. We look in Canada with the Conservatives, which is very much counterforce in alliance. And I would say the same thing here with this German political party, AfD. Okay, so to me, it feels like they're going to be making some big ideas, some big claims, some big actions that are going to come together if they're brought more into an authoritative power, right? But that's giving me a definite yes. They are definitely on the side of the counterforces. Okay, very good question. Thank you for that. All right. So, okay, this one here is from Jerry. Hello, Jerry. Jerry says, reading on the Canadian housing market. All right. I guess the question would be, is the Canadian housing market going to improve? Right? What's the momentum ahead for the Canadian housing market? Okay, let's take a look. Okay, I'm going to do a 5-card reading on this one. Okay. Well, guys, I know you want to hear good news about the Canadian housing market. I don't really have much for you. Okay, this is basically the whole situation representing the housing market right now is that it's basically up in the air, right? This kind of tells me that there's inflation. Right? Sometimes it's going to be a very good card, but to me, this can represent the idea that it's basically just being hyperinflated, right? And the past right now, like I said, is that nobody can really afford a house really in Canada and much of the areas of Canada altogether because of hyperinflation altogether. Is this going to move forward? It's still kind of at rest. It needs to get worse before it gets better, right? It's kind of like I said, with a lot of events, a lot of things need to get worse before they get better, right? So we need to kind of, this needs to kind of ferment for a little while. More and more people need to get angry. More and more people need to take action. More and more people need to step up. There's not enough. It's exactly why these events take place. Again, if you listen to what the signposts are telling you and how the universe works, is saying, we're only making these situations dire as a means for you to stand up and take action towards them. And basically seeing more and more people. And we're not just relying on a select few of people, a small handful of people. We want the majority of people involved. And in order for that to happen, we have to bring forward events that are going to piss you off, that are not only going to piss you off, that's going to make you boil. Your blood's going to boil about this. You are so unbelievably enraged and outraged by how things are going. You can't stand it anymore. And you go and you join that unity consciousness of people that are coming together. That's really what it takes. It's what it takes to shift everything here, right? So that's kind of the feeling I'm getting. And that's kind of what I'm feeling right now, is that people need to be angry. This needs to be something that's in the mentality and the emotions, right? People need to get more upset about this. As they get much more upset about this and they realize that it's next to impossible to afford a house, it's next to impossible to afford rent, taxes are going up on so many different things. I think they were talking about trying to tax a streaming service the other day as well too. So this is all part of the three-ring circus, guys. This is deliberate. This is them reading off a script, right? And like I said, none of it's real, but how it's impacting us is real, right? So the near future is that there's still going to be some time. It needs to be it's going to be an emotional time. It's going to be an emotional upset. And if we're looking in the distant future, we are going to see things change, okay? But that's the distant future. That could be something from like a year or so from now. But right now, people need to get angry. You need to get mad. You need to get upset. You need to, feel like your blood is boiling and you're standing up for these people because you want justice. That's it. You're not out to try and hurt somebody or massacre somebody. You're angry because you want justice, because this is going against everything that's common sense. None of this makes sense. This has no common sense whatsoever. This should not be happening, and we're going to stand up against it. That's it. That's what it's all about, okay? And for Canadians, we're too damn complacent, right? We are really, really complacent people. We are so entranced with all of this political nonsense and political garbage of trying to think that, it just requires a good debate, and that'll take care of it. No, it's not going to be done through a good debate. It needs to be the idea that people are standing up, they're taking their power back, they're working together with each other, and things are going to then shift, right? That's why these things are happening on the planet that are so outrageous, that are so unbelievable, that are so completely and totally impractical, that don't make sense whatsoever. It's supposed to be that way, to get you to stand up, because that's what it takes. It really does take the majority of the planet to shift things around. I'm not talking about you guys going on a spiritual journey, but I'm talking about the idea that you need to stand up, you need to work together, you need to unify. This is what I've been saying for years, and we're starting to see it. And like I said, as far as America goes, they've already hit checkmate. Canada, I don't think, will be that far behind. So if we hit checkmate, that's great. It's going to lead into big changes, but again, it's going to take some time to undo a lot of the damage that's been done by this current party, right? So this is why I said it will happen in the not too distant future. But right now, no, we really just need to focus on standing up right now. Okay, Jerry, thank you for your question. Okay, let me just double check to see if there's any other donations. Okay, looks like the donations are fine. So thank you, donators, appreciate that. Okay. So this is from Jen. Jen says, hi, Brad. A question. Chile is overloaded with illegal immigration, corruption, violence, drug cartels, etc. How do you see the new future there? People need to stand up. Okay. Is it going to be long-term that that's going to happen? No. Because there's going to be I guess you could say, a revolution that will take place. There will be action taken upon all of those things. It's like I said, it's kind of like Trump is going to be leading the charge of that altogether, and it feels like the rest of the world is going to follow through. I would say Putin and Trump are basically going to be leading the charge for that. If Trump gets back in power, They're going to work together, and all of those cartels are going to be taking place, guys. I don't have any good news for you currently with that, because Jan, you're absolutely correct. Chile is overloaded with illegal immigration. It's overloaded with corruption. It's overloaded with violence. It's overloaded with drug cartels. You're right. There's no doubt about that. Is it going to be cleaned up at some point? Yes. But like I said, people need to take a look around. And like I said, the only way that's really going to happen is when these events are so incredibly blown up and colossal that people can't ignore it anymore. And they're going to want to demand justice. In order for them to have their voices heard, they need to come together in a group, a very large group, a massive group. That's why these things are being allowed to happen. This is exactly what the signposts are telling me to tell you guys, right? I didn't come up with this idea, but this is the universe saying, how much longer are you guys going to be putting up with these festering states of behavior? How much longer are you guys going to be putting up with all these things that are happening here? You've been putting up for a lot of time. You've been swallowing these things down for a long time. What needs to be done to getting all of you to stand up and work together? A big, big, big tragedy. A tragedy that is so incredibly colossal that not a single one of you can tolerate it. And that's what's ahead for Chile. Okay? That's what is ahead for a lot of countries whose people are not waking up enough. Right? You are going to see more disasters. You are going to see more crime. You are going to see much more unfair treatment of governments walking all over you until you finally stand up and come together as a collective and make a difference. And that's what it's going to take. Look at exactly what's happening with Trump right now, with how the world was watching that trial, to seeing exactly how he got shafted and how people responded to that, with people that you never thought would vote for him are voting for him. This has created a chain reaction. That's what I'm talking about. It's something that people have put a lot of their hearts into, and they're just watching that getting trampled, right, by this force, by this dark force. Like I said, guys, if it really was up to the counterforces could go into Chile and take them down like that. It's not a problem for them. But they're not allowed to do that. This is something for the people. This is an in front of the scenes situation. And it needs to be brought to your attention that there's illegal immigration going on. There's corruption, there's violence, there's drug cartels. Guys, that's happening in the US. Guys, that's happening in Canada. Guys, that's happening in Germany. Guys, that's happening in Australia. Okay? A lot of countries have that, Jan. Okay? Chile is not the only one. It can certainly be overloaded. So is the United States. So is Canada. So is Mexico. So is Germany. So is Australia. Right? A lot of them have this problem. China. Okay? Singapore. Just like we've been talking, they haven't had a heck of a time. Wondering if their elections are even going to happen because there's so much corruption. Guys, the entire planet is infested with a plague of dark forces. Right? And all we've been doing is we've been kicking these hornets' nests. And they're rampant. They are hell-bent to try to maintain their empire. They want to seize the entire planet. Now, are they going to be allowed to? No. Because these events are going to continue to escalate to a boiling point. Every country has its boiling point. Right? I've talked to you guys before about working together with your center, working together with your heart, and just talking to spirit and just saying, Spirit, through the power that you are, let people wake up more. Right? Just put that intention out there. But that's really what needs to happen, guys. This is not going to be liberated by the few. The many need to come together. And I know we don't like to hear that. I know we don't like to see this stuff. I know we don't like the idea of illegal immigration, corruption, violence, wars, drug cartels, trafficking. These are horrible things. But again, people need to know about it, because what happens is like, oh, yeah, I know, okay, let's go and do our thing, and that's it, right? And they completely ignore this stuff until something that threatens them takes place. It threatens their livelihood. Their house suddenly gets foreclosed. Their bank account is now suddenly shut down. They lose their job. Something happens that devastates their world. And then they want to take action, right? So that's the whole idea of this on a collective level. We need to devastate the population of this planet with events that are so unbelievably extreme, it will make their blood boil, and they will demand for change. And that's when change can happen. country to country, nation to nation, state to state, right? Land to land, all over the world. That's how it's done. And that's what we're seeing. And guys, God, I've been talking about this for years because I saw this time happening, that there's going to be an intense roller coaster ride. There's going to be more corruption. You're going to see everything that's going to come about and just make your blood boil. Been talking about this for years and helping you guys, working together with this, right? Going into your center and just unleashing your power, right? And just put out that call and say, let the world see what's going on. Let blind eyes see again, right? Come into your center, open up your heart, helping people in your neighborhood, helping people all along. This is just things I've been talking about for nearly 16 years. And we're just seeing it right now. This does not surprise me one bit, because this is a time, in a way, it's a great thing, because we're at the tail end of this movie. We're at the tail end of the situation. But blood needs to boil. That's what needs to happen, guys. I don't have anything in good news in regards to saying this is going to come down to one person or a few people, and they're going to take care of you guys. They're not. This is up to you. This is up to the majority of the planet. That's what's going to make the changes. So are those particular forms of organizations, illegal immigration, corruption going to stay around? No. But we need to get to that point. We need to lock in to this new world that we want to move into. We have to say no, and we will stand up, and we will support the idea to where there has been injustice, to bringing that into justice. That's what needs to happen here. Okay, let's go down here. And Jen, thanks for your question. Okay, guys, so this is all just kind of pointing back to other people's questions. Just look back at what Jen was saying about immigration, right? Hi, Brad. Question, could you look at why hundreds of hotels in UK and Ireland are full of immigrants? Because they're coming in droves. Like I said, you're basically looking at the majority of criminals. You're looking at mercenaries, okay? This is one of their big plans. We will bring immigrants in. We will basically have all of these countries working together with people that we have personally selected. We will bring the immigrants in droves, and they will just cause chaos. They will cause chaos throughout the entire country, right? They will basically throw away the borders, and they'll have immigrants coming in, and you got hotels, and you got homes in that sense that are just being completely ransacked with immigrants, right? And basically these people are just bullied. These people are, again, fragile. These people are vicious. They're violent. They're horrendous. There's many different variations of it, but it's all part of a takeover. It's the idea of trying to implement civil war with many different forms of countries, just like they were trying to do with the United States, right? Where they were trying to have the borders open and have even more immigrants coming in, but you basically had Texas coming in and standing up against it, right? That's the whole idea. This is a civil war agenda. This is a civil war implementation, bringing immigrants in and just causing chaos and just wreaking havoc, causing more fear, causing people that can be completely shrouded in fear. Like that one guy earlier who thinks that the Western civilization is end. All that is telling me complete and total ego, fear, nonsense porn, right? And that's exactly what happens, is that they use these particular agendas to try and bring about an institution of order and trying to control you through fear, because all these immigrants are coming in, and they're basically bringing in these immigrants, and they're going to try and make you empty promises that they'll take the immigrants out, and they won't, right? It's like the idea that you're basically in cahoots with the very criminal that brings them in, with them promising that they're going to bring them out, right? And they're not. But all they're trying to do is just trying to bring fear into you that you're not safe, that your property is not safe, that your home's not safe, that your city is not safe, that your land's not safe, that you're not safe, right? These are, again, tactics. These are psychological tactics to create fear and try to bring control back to the masses. Bring immigrants in who will just cause chaos, who will bring about civil war. That's exactly what's happening. Is that going to happen in the long term? No. It's going to flush out because new leadership is going to come together. But we have to align to those plans. And to align to those plans involves unification, right? Coming together, working together, starting to get on the same page rather than being at people's throats, right? And looking at these things. And like I said, guys, I don't have all the answers for you. I'm just giving you a perspective of what I'm getting to tell you, right? And you can throw that away or you can accept it. But that is exactly what I've seen happen. And as I've talked about this for years, These are things that are just coming about that I'm seeing right now. Okay. So why hundreds of hotels in that sense are doing it? Well, it's probably because a lot of these hotels are fine with having immigrants in the best way. Maybe they're in on it as well too. We'd have to look into certain hotels, right? Which hotels are you naming? We'd have to do background checks on those hotels specifically. But like I said, immigrants are coming in and obviously hotels are letting them stay. All part of agendas, right? Okay. Let's move down a little bit further. How are we on time? We're probably going to take about 2 or 3 more questions. We're going to wrap up. Okay. Okay, this is from Darling. Darling says, and yet Janine keeps saying there won't be another U.S. election. Well, if you want, I'll grab the cards right now, and I'll take a look at that. Right? Let's take a look at the cards right now, and I'll just see what I get. I haven't heard that, actually, from anybody about there not being a U.S. election. So let's take a look. I think people are scared about that. Think, oh my God, Trump's a criminal, and there's no way he's going to get into power. Like, I wouldn't agree with that. But let's take a look and see what the cards are telling me. Will there be a U.S. election? Let's take a look. Okay. So what I'm getting here is the Hierophant, right? The dark cult really doesn't want there to be one because they know that they're going to make Trump a martyr right now, but it's going to go ahead anyways, right? So the whole idea here in that sense is that the corrupt basically have their days numbered, right? From what I'm seeing here, this is the behind the scenes card. This is the hope or fear card. This is representing hope, right? This is representing the idea that there is indeed going to be an election, right? It doesn't look that way, but it certainly is going to happen, right? So this is the kind of the outcome of what's happening, right? The dark cult's trying to control everything, trying to bury it. If they can't bury Trump, they'll try and take down the election. Exactly what I was saying earlier, right? But from the hope or fear card, they're saying, is this going to happen or not? It's going to happen. Yeah, it is most definitely going to happen. And like I said, from the behind the scenes card is that we're going to see a walking away of this whole situation. We're going to see a walking away. We're going to see a taking down of the corrupt, right? We see Pisces, we see Saturn. So the whole idea is there's a feeling of a loss, right? And this, I feel, is aspecting together with the dark cult card, right? Which is often my dark cult card here. And this is basically saying that they're losing. Whatever it is that they're trying to put out, it's not going to work, right? So they're certainly trying to sabotage the nature of having an election happen if they can't get Trump out of the picture, because they're going to try and do that. So there's no way I'm going to try and run up against a criminal, a convicted criminal, and a convicted felon. They're going to push the convicted felon in that sense. There shouldn't even be a race. I should be the standalone winner. I should be the standalone victor, because there's no way they're going to push a convicted felon. No way is a convicted felon going to be able to run the country and blah, blah, blah. And that's what they'll continue on. He's a jailbird and he's a convicted felon, and we don't want a criminal running this country. He obviously doesn't look at himself in the mirror, right? But that's what they do. They gaslight, they slanderize, they manipulate, they control. That's what they do. But at the end of the day, there will be a new president. So that's what I'm seeing here. So I do not agree with Janine. No offense, okay? But I do not agree with her if she's saying that there's no U.S. election, all right? They're going to try and take it down, but I do not think that they will succeed, okay? I certainly feel like it will continue. It's inevitable. The people are now just so completely, in majority sense, in favor of Trump, right? And there will be repercussions even if they tried to take it down, right? So it's kind of like what the question was earlier with Life is Good, talking about the Singapore elections, right? People are afraid that the elections are going to be canceled or the elections are going to be taken down. Of course, like I said, if the people are behind it, it most certainly will come to pass. If people are not behind it, it may be canceled, right? It's just a matter of the people. They get behind it completely. But I feel what the corrupt wants, they're not going to get. So that's what I'm getting, right? I'm only giving perspective. I know Janine gives perspective. That's fine. I have a great amount of love and respect for Janine. I just don't agree with her in this. That's all. That's just the difference. Okay. Okay. Here's some information for Canada. Okay. Carla 89cc. How will Trudeau leave? When? Well, see, I've had feelings that there may be a possibility of a snap election this year, right? But they were certainly attempting for that in the past, and they were shut down on it, right? I feel like there still needs to be a lot more exposure. Things need to get a lot more hotter and a lot more intense. And then if they call for it again, I feel it will come about, right? Because I feel like the coalition between the Liberals and the NDP is falling apart, right? A lot of the allies that Trudeau once has, or Castro once have, are basically going to be turning against him, right? So I feel like it's kind of like a dog-eat-dog situation, and that things get to the point of great severity that there will be an impulse to call for a snap election again. And I feel like if it's called again, it'll have a much better chance of happening. That could happen at the end of this year, could happen at the beginning of next year. But I feel like that's basically what's attempting to happen, is try to light the fires up a lot more intensity, more inflammation of the whole situation. As that happens, his allies start to drift apart from him, and they actually start to vote against him, right? And so I don't think it'll wait too long. I don't think we have to wait till fall of 2025 for that to happen, right? I feel like I said, it could happen quite sooner. Again, it just depends on the cooperation of people, but things need to intensify. And I know people don't like to hear that. Say, Brad, why do you have to say that, guys? I'm just telling it like it is, right? I'm telling it exactly how I'm receiving it. I'm telling exactly how it comes together. But if I'm looking into the idea of how Trudeau will leave, people are going to betray him. They're going to betray him. He's going to lose his power. And I feel like he'll be taken away behind the scenes, because that is not the real Trudeau that you're seeing. That is a doppelganger. I think there's about 3 of them, right? The real Trudeau was taken away quite some time ago. And these are just doppelgangers. These are just minions of the corrupt that are just following scripts. That is not the real Trudeau as well, too. Even if you take pictures of him, you see him with a fatter face, you see him where the eyebrows are moved up higher or they're moved up lower, right? These are not even real renditions of him. So these are, again, primarily doppelgangers, and there is no real Trudeau, just as there's no real Biden, right? They're avatars. And like I said, they are in desperation mode right now. They are in super duper desperation mode. And if they could try to cancel elections, that's exactly what they will try to do. But I do not feel that they will succeed. Okay? And that's just coming from my perspective. That's all I can do, guys. All I can do on this program is give you perspective, right? Take it or leave it. Okay, guys, we'll take one more question, and then we're going to wrap up. So let me see here. Okay. All right. I'm just seeing if there's any questions here, guys. Just give me a minute. Okay. Okay, just give me that, guys. There's a lot of comments. I'm just looking to see if there's a good question to end on here. There's a lot of stuff going on here. A lot of it's just conversational, really. Okay. Okay, I think we'll probably end with Julie's question here. Julie says, isn't President Trump going to be proven as our sitting president because of the illegal ballots used in the last election? Well, this is what I've been saying, right? This is why I say he's really still just the president as well, too, because he never really lost his presidency. I don't know if they're using that right now. They're not really using that motive as a means to getting him back, right? It feels like this is something very, very different. Because like I said, guys, this is not what you think it will be, right? Like I said, this is why I say it's a Hollywood script. It's something that's much more of a three-ring circus. This is not something of what we think it will be altogether, right? Is he really a sitting president? I would say yes, he most definitely is. But they're not using that. They're not using that motive. They're basically just trying to get him back into the elections race, right? Campaigning once again. And it just feels like it's a repeat. This is just a movie. It's Hollywood over and over and over again, right? So you think so because that would make sense. But like I said, this is really just something that doesn't really make sense It's all what fits in front of the scenes of the movie. Because this is, like I said, this is devoid of common sense. This is devoid of common leadership. This is devoid of common governmental behavior, of anything of that nature. None of this makes sense. This is all just part of a script, right? Of things that are happening to try and awaken the people. All right. So thank you, Julie, for that question. Okay. So I think we might just wrap things up here. Okay. I'm just taking a look here, just a couple last things. So we still got a couple minutes. Okay, I think we'll end with this one here. This will be our last question. Will there be a huge attack in America between June 11th to June 16th, like other readers are getting? Okay, huge attack in America between June 11th and June 16th. Well, it's not too far away. Let's take a look. I'll just do kind of a quick reading on this one. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got. Okay, well, I think things will happen at that time. I don't think it's going to be, overly detrimental in that way. But I feel like there is going to be something that is going to come about that's going to bind people, right? They may be making plans that they're trying to bring about. Maybe it is something regarding immigration. Maybe it is something regarding government control. I can't guarantee it'll be around those times. As I've always said, you just need to be careful with dates, right? A lot of people like to put dates around things, and it almost never really happens, okay? But whatever is happening, like I said, I feel it's going to ground people a lot more, right? And it wouldn't surprise me. It's not even so much as looking at that particular date, but just looking at the summertime, right? The summertime itself, because I'm not giving any specific dates, but looking around the summer and early fall, we're going to see things, like I said, that is really going to try people. And like I said, and I've said this quite a few times, guys, is like, I really don't even care about any of this stuff because I don't live in a life of fear. I don't live in a life where I think that politicians are going to run my life and government's going to take over and all that stuff. It's like I said, I just don't live in that life. I don't live every day sweating buckets, right? Thinking that, oh my goodness, what's going to happen to my home? Oh my goodness, what's going to happen to my bank account? Oh my goodness, what's going to happen to my vehicle? Oh my goodness, what's going to happen to my family? I don't get into those mentalities. I honestly don't. So when I basically say I'm doing this for you guys, it's the truth. I don't care about any of this stuff. I could basically pack up this webcast tomorrow and never look back at it again. And the only really reason I'm doing this is for you guys, right? I'm happy working a lot more with my spiritual work. I'm happy working a lot more with communicating with Adronis, sharing universal knowledge, helping people with healing, right? Training students. That's something beautiful for me. If I'm basically sweating bullets about a particular time period, about June 11th and June 16th, about a huge attack on the States and sweating bullets about that, whether you're sweating bullets or not, there's still a concern there. And I've always said, guys, just be careful with dates. There's going to be a lot of intense things happening, but really what I'm getting here in the reading, I don't see anything in regards to a huge attack that's taking place. I feel like there will be announcements that will cause people to be upset, but I'm not seeing anything in regards to huge attacks, right? These cards here do not represent huge attacks, okay? If anything, I'm seeing overhaul. If anything, I'm seeing change. If anything, I'm seeing significant change, transformational events that are helping to shed light on certain exposures that have been left in shadows. That's what I'm seeing. But I don't see the idea of huge attacks happening. And like I said, I'm not going to be sweating bullets because some people, some readers basically just put these things in. I just really don't resonate with a lot of those readers, with the majority of them. Like I said, 90 to 95%, not really, right? They'll come up with these dates and they said, how are you getting dates? There's no dates in the ether. How are you getting dates? Right? So that's kind of what I'm wondering altogether, because it's not the idea where you can just check a clock. It's not just the idea where you can check a calendar and those things, right? Unless you're seeing a calendar vision that you're getting, which is quite rare. But really just getting the idea where there's momentum times, there's periods, right? If you have periods, those are a little bit more accurate. But if you're looking more into the exactness of dates, No, 99% of that fails. So I would not really sweat bullets with this, guys. And like I said, I really don't even care about this stuff at all, because really the most important thing is that you're here. The most important thing is that you're here in your center. And when you see people suffering, give your love, give your compassion. When you see people having a hard time, that they have a hard time just grasping all these things, give them a hug, right? That's the best thing there is to give, right? Give love, give compassion, give joy to people, right? That's the best way that you can do to help. Just bring love to people because you're here. If you're taking my AetherX Academy, you know what I'm talking about. If you've watched a lot of my videos over the years, you know what I'm talking about. If you're new to this channel, you probably don't have a damn clue of what I'm talking about. And that's okay. Give yourself some time to look into a lot of these things, because that's what I'm all about, is just learning to live in here, right? Doesn't mean I'm going to be like an angel and not enjoy a good debate, because guys, I enjoy debates, right? If you're a constructive critic and you want to give this stuff, believe me, guys, I will be happy to roll up my sleeves and counter debate with you, because I love that, right? I'm a debater. It's what I actually love to do, right? I actually don't mind getting in people's faces and debating with them. There's something about that that's actually very rewarding, because it opens up a space. I'm not basically trying to condemn them or bash them into the ground, but I will call a spade a spade. That's just how I work, right? And I love that. I love debating. I kind of do love getting in people's faces and debating quite a bit. Something I really enjoy. Something I've always enjoyed, really. But not to the point where I'm wounding a person, but in the idea of saying, okay, I want to crack open your belief systems here. I want to look into this stuff, because if you're believing a lot of this stuff, from what I'm seeing, it sounds like you're a fool, right? And I will look into these things, and I will certainly exploit them. I have no problem doing that. And I really honestly enjoy that. Big time. Okay, guys. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll be doing the free e-course of the free version of RAYD8. And again, that will be happening on Saturday as well, too. So tomorrow at 9 a.m., Saturday at 8 a.m. Pacific time. Check that out. If you've been using RAYD8, you want to know more about it, then I'll be coming on and sharing a lot more information on how RAYD8 really works and how it can benefit you even more. Some new tips and advice for you. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining me today for the Signposts, and I'll talk to you again in another perspective. But now, take care.